The mysterious One Piece treasure has just gotten a clue, and it's connected to him, Shamrock. What's this story all about? Let's talk about it right after the intro.
Hello everyone, welcome to Manga Information Channel, Soldo here. Before we dive into today's content, I just want to ask you to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel and turn on the notification bell. That will help the channel grow and reach even more people. And now, without any further delay, let's get into today's video. Let's go!
It's not a spoiler for the next chapter. It's not even a theory about the next big fight. It's about what the One Piece really is. That's right. What could Shamrock, a holy knight who barely appeared, possibly have to do with the final treasure? What does he know? Well, we're going to talk about a behind-the-scenes piece of information that absolutely broke the internet, and it might just be the biggest clue we've ever received about the ending of the series. Where this info comes from. Let's start with the source, because this isn't your average leak. This is something much deeper. I don't know if you know Sandman, or @SandmanScoreAP over on X, formerly Twitter. He's one of the most mysterious and respected figures in the global One Piece community. He's not a weekly spoiler leaker. He's an archivist, a historian. He's always bringing up insane trivia about Oda, digging up old interviews, obscure databook notes, SBS details nobody noticed. And the way he writes makes it sound like he has a very close connection with the Shueisha team, maybe even with Oda himself. Some even believe he could be a childhood friend or a member of Oda's editorial team using this profile anonymously. Whatever the truth, he's an A-tier source, and what he just dropped is a bombshell. The revelation: Shamrock and the One Piece. Here's the curiosity Sandman shared, something only someone very close to Oda could possibly know. It directly connects the Holy Knight Shamrock to the One Piece treasure itself. Let me read what Sandman posted. Open quote, "In January of 2025, when the new One Piece editor Fukuda had his first phone meeting with Oda, he was told that the chapter featuring Shamrock's first appearance was extremely important." Close quote. So far, that sounds normal. A new character, a holy knight, obviously it's important. But the continuation is what breaks everything. Open quote. Oda told Fukuda that he wouldn't understand the meaning of that chapter unless Oda revealed to him what the One Piece truly is. Close quote. Let's pause and process that. Oda, in his first call with the new editor, basically said, "Pay attention to chapter 1137. To understand why it matters, I have to tell you the ending of the entire manga." So Oda revealed the truth about the One Piece, just so his editor could grasp the weight of that chapter. That's insane. For years, only a tiny circle of editors knew the ending. And the reason this new editor, Fukuda, had to learn the biggest secret in anime history was the debut of Shamrock. So what's in chapter 1137? Naturally, this leads us to one question. What's in chapter 1137? I went back and reread it with a magnifying glass, and I suggest you do the same. Shamrock is officially introduced in that chapter during the search for Loki. In that scene, he delivers a very interesting and very arrogant line. He's observing Elbaf, the land of the giants, and says, open quote, "Long ago, the New World was completely conquered by the fierce warriors of Elbaf. They will, without a doubt, end up under the control of our world government." Close quote. At first glance, it's just a villain being arrogant. But now that we know this line is directly tied to the secret of the One Piece, everything changes. Possibility 1, the giants and the One Piece. Could the giants have something to do with the One Piece? Shamrock's entire speech is about Elbaf, the land of warriors that even the world government never managed to conquer. Could the treasure, the One Piece, be connected to these fierce warriors of Elbaf? Maybe they discovered it long ago. Or, more likely, the giants are the guardians of the One Piece, or they know exactly where it is. After all, that giant straw hat in Mary Giois, the Joy Boy connection. Everything points toward the giants. So Shamrock's arrogant statement, "They'll end up under our control," might be the ultimate irony. The editor, knowing the truth about the One Piece, would understand that Elbaf is precisely where the world government's control will collapse. Possibility 2, the Figarland family and the One Piece. But what if the real clue isn't what he said, but who he is? Could Shamrock himself, or rather the Figarland family, have a direct connection to the One Piece treasure? Think about it. The Figarlands are portrayed as the sword of the celestial dragons, the enforcers of their will, the anti-D bloodline. They represent order, lineage, and absolute control of the world government. And what did Roger do when he found the One Piece? He laughed. What if the treasure itself mocks all of that? We know Shanks, another Figarland, has a unique interest in the One Piece. And now, with Shamrock tied to it too. What are you cooking up here, Oda? Shamrock's line in chapter 1137 becomes the height of irony. Figarland talking about domination and control, right in the land that symbolizes freedom, Elbaf, which may hold the key, or the treasure itself, that will destroy the very system of control his family protects. For an editor who knows what the One Piece truly is, something tied to freedom, to Joy Boy, to laughter, this line would hit completely differently. He'd get the joke. He'd understand why that character, saying that line in that place, marks the beginning of the end. That's it, folks. Of course, this raises far more questions than answers, but there it is. A small clue, yet maybe the most concrete one we've ever had about what the One Piece actually is. Sandman's info is clear. The key to understanding the One Piece lies in chapter 1137, specifically in Shamrock's introduction. What do you think? What's your theory? I strongly recommend you go back and reread chapter 1137 very carefully, because the theories are about to explode. If you enjoyed this deep analysis, don't forget, leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Valeu.